we are going to be doing Profit Like a Pro with the DEATHGIVERS. Khaled, you only had to get to day 2 of asking for this, and here it is. So I really like to extensively play a build before I make a video on it. I don't want to just play a build a few days and then figure it out. I don't want to have no research done or figure out what people like to play. So we are going to be talking about the DEATHGIVERS. I've been playing this a lot. I think it's very strong, but to start off with, I want to talk about what is the primary build people are using, and we will go over to the kill board for that, as you guys can see. And the primary builds are right here, so I have it set to the highest usages, and we're going to be talking about this build right here, the one that I have equipped. We are going to be avoiding this one, even though it has an 89% win rate, just due to the fact that it's played at an average IP of 1718. Another build that I find very strong, that I consider playable by everyone, not just people in 8.4, is going to be the 82% win rate down here, with the Jacket of Tenacity and the Sandals of Purity, or just a cloth sprint on them. These builds here are just more for ganking, I find. I don't really see them used in PvP, right? The Smuggler's Cape on this one is just due to having big healing pots. Caerleon Cape is the main thing we use, unless we're going to use tier 8 poison pots, which I will talk about right now. But let's get back into Albion here, and here's the build that I have on right now, and I think that this is really, really powerful. So to start off with, we're going to cover the weapon, just because everything feeds into the weapon and everything comes very good together, or very well together, with the E of DEATHGIVERS. Our whole build centers around that. So starting off with our Q abilities, we have the choice of Sunder Armor, Deadly Swipe, and Assassin Spirit. So Sunder Armor is going to be our primary one against melee, or really in general, just because it has the fastest way for us to get our E off, as well as the highest DPS, due to just dealing 307 damage so quickly. Now, the reason that this can be bad is because it's very difficult to use, because it doesn't have any mobility, right? We have to have our opponent standing still to get this off. Now, Deadly Swipe doesn't have that issue, and it also has an added benefit. With its almost double the cooldown, or double the time to get off a free Ghost Strike, we jump. You guys can see I do get 2 stacks due to hitting multiple mobs, being very powerful in the mist, but the added cooldown just gets me a little bit slower of an E. Now, with Caerleon Cape, this is less of an issue, because if I get 2 stacks, I can do that twice instantly, right? I don't have to even wait for a cooldown. I can very quickly get off my E. Now, Assassin's Spirit is utilized in some cases. I find this super rare to use, if not never, and that is just because it slowly builds up these stacks without having to fight, allowing us to E. You'll see the stacks just build back up on me, 1, 2, 3. And this is just a little bit slower, and it doesn't have any benefit, right? With Sunder Armor, we get a damage resistance break. With Deadly Swipe, we just get AoE and the ability to build up multiple Assassin Spirit charges, as well as mobility, right? The mobility of Deadly Swipe is super, super good. Any small mobility in Albion is super powerful, so just that added swipe, you guys can see that was pretty quick travel. Now, talking about the W's, the 3 primary ones we're going to talk about is Chain Slash, Shadow Edge, and the Throwing Blades. To start off with, the Throwing Blades can be very powerful due to their buff, but also the kind of nuke damage we can deal with them. So for every unique target we hit, we get 15% movement speed and 10% damage. So if I stand right about maybe here, and I hit all 3 of these targets, I actually move pretty quickly, and I would be dealing 30% increased damage. With the way the front-loaded damage of DEATHGIVERS works, that can be very powerful. Now, a little bit of tech that I didn't know until I saw someone do it recently was, if you stand on a target and you hit your Throwing Blades, all 3 of them will hit them consistently. I thought maybe they'd have to be in front of you, but with the way the hitboxes line up, it's just very easy to Assassin Shoes, stack up, throw the blades, and it works. We only get 1 buff, because it only hits 1 unique target, unless there's multiple around, but it's a little hard to space them that way. So upside and downside. Next is Shadow Edge. So this is the dash that gives us immunity to crowd control effects and debuffs. This used to make you immune to all damage as well. I think it still does, but I usually use this to get the big curse, like one-handed curses E, to not work, right? You can immunity it with the crowd control immunity. I mean the debuff immunity. But the same can be said about Chain Slash, and this is our primary bread and butter, so we saved it for last to talk about. So this gives us an immunity and invisibility dash that can dash up to 3 targets, dealing increasingly more damage per dash. So let's say I want to deal the most amount of damage to this guy in the front here. I would dash to the farthest target. I'd be invisible and immune until I hit him. And as you can see, my total damage is much higher on this last one. Very, very good. So the reason that this all comes together very well is Ghost Strike. Ghost Strike, when casted with 3 of our primary stats, or our stack. So right, that can be Assassin Spirit or our Sunder charges. When I cast it with 3, it's free, and it doesn't get put on cooldown. It's not free in energy cost, but it's free in the terms of cooldown. Makes us invisible for 1 second after use. This is what makes Deathgivers so good. This makes Deathgivers so good, but it also allows the rest of our build to feed into it. So starting off with the helmet, since we are casting a free E, we can even have 2 of them built up. So let's say I get 2 Qs off, another one off. I can Stalker Hood, I can E, W, Assassin Shoes, back with another Q, and that is a huge combo that would be buffed by the Mortal Agony as well as buffed by their damage resistances being dropped down. Now, like I said, I think this build can perform very well, and I like to test things out. So a lot of this is going to be my personal opinion on why this build works good, but we'll be talking about a few other things that work well, and I think this build can perform really well into melee. So this was a kill I just had, and I think kills like this are very important because I like to see that a build can punch up an IP, can kill a lot of them, right? Bear Paws is very common, so that's great. Now, the reason I'm telling you guys this is because I really like to play Sunder Armor, which means I really like to play Chain Slash as added mobility. So, great. Now, this comes into play because Ghost Strike can also be mobility. You guys can see the range of it here, as well as the range of Chain Slash. So, let's say Assassin Shoes, then my opponent gets away. I can Ghost Strike, then my opponent gets away. Maybe even some mobs are chasing them, right? If a mob is chasing my opponent and I dash to them, I'll dash to the mob that they were on, and I'll end up actually further away from my opponent than I would like. So if I want to end up at target 3 over here, I'd always want to dash to target 1, to target 2, to target 3, which Chain Slash just chooses the closest enemy within 7 meters of the target hit up to 3. So that's how that works. Now, like I said, that all functions very well with Mortal Agony. The chest piece. Mage Robes allows us to get the largest physical attack bonus possible, which is 58% with the Balanced Mind or Aggression selected. I think it's called Balanced Mind on Leather. So, very good. Frost Shield, very good because it is a slow, which for a build that is quite mobile, but unconventionally mobile. We don't just have a sprint. It's important that I have some other ways to slow, and as well, this is just a strong reflect and damage resist. With the way the front-loaded damage, but also predictability of Deathgiver's damages, being able to purge off something like Inferno Shield is really important, right? If I get 3 stacks onto someone, it's very likely that I'm going to follow that up with an E, so it's very telegraphed, right? You can understand that that's what's coming next. So that is why we're running everything on the Mage Robes. Our only real selection here is Aggression. On the Stalker Hood, we're going to be running Quick Thinker. On the boots, we're going to be running Quick Thinker as well. For the boots, Assassin Shoes. Whenever I have a weapon that has a lot of good mobility, I like to run Assassin Shoes just because it's bonus damage and consistent, right? Works great with Q2, being able to stay on people with Deadly Swipe, and then just with Sunder Armor, it is so much damage to deal. Now, consumables and cape. Obviously, the reason we are running Caerleon Cape is to just quickly get off our E, right? Once I have 3 stacks, I could have E'd for free. It's on cooldown right now. But as soon as we have those 3 stacks, works great. Gigantifies, just a brawl, right? Helps us not get forced movement speed, but it's just so good in brawl. I like sometimes running Smuggler and Poisoned. You'll see me run this a lot just because it allows us to get people into that Stalker Hood execute range so much quicker. Beef Stew. Eel Stew is objectively better for Deathgivers just because we get so much utility from our W and our E and even Deadly Swipe, right? So that cooldown reduction is giving us so much mobility, so much immunity through Chain Slash, invisibility through Chain Slash, and invisibility through Ghost Strike, as well as allowing us to cast Sunder Armor quicker, which in turn allows us to E for free more. Now, like we talked about, some people really like the Hellion Jacket, and Hellion Jacket is great, but this is more for mists, right? Q2, Deadly Swipe, and the Hellion Jacket are really good in miss and really good in high IP because this just heals for how much damage it does, so the bigger one, the more healing. Now, Deadly Swipe, like I said, you guys can see I can very quickly build up stacks with multiple targets, as well as heal up with Hellion, which is super useful in the mists. Now, that should just about cover everything that the Deathgivers has to offer. Like I said, the primary build I'll be running is this one that you can see on screen now, but I really enjoy both the Caerleon Cave Gigpot version, not so much the Hellion Jacket. That is just not for me. Some people like the Jacket of Tenacity build, and that is just because the Jacket of Tenacity, if I pull it up, allows us to get even more front-loaded damage while being a tough leather chest piece with dynamic defense, right? Getting that small 4-second damage buff can allow us to use Chain Slash, Mortal Agony, Double E, all in that 4-second window and get a huge damage bonus. But thank you guys so much. We're going to get into some fight analysis now and cover some of the fights I've been having. That covers everything. If you have any questions about this segment or just what the abilities do or what I think about them, leave a comment down below. I would love to get back to you guys. Otherwise, let's hop into the fight analysis. All right, everyone. To start off with, we got a little cat in the left corner because this guy said some bad, naughty words to me. He was not happy. I had previously died to him. I was really messing with him in a battle axe set, and I saw this gather, and oh, he jumps him. And this is the 8.1 Bear Paws guy. Now, this is a unique story. This is a tale here, but he's just too mobile for me at first because I wasn't able to like properly stick initially, which can be problematic without a real sprint, right? We only have those dashes, but once I'm able to get up on him here, I have a much better time here. So our transporter friend is making it away, but I'm able to get on him. The poison pot is going to start to slow. You guys see I switch onto the stag for the beautiful chain slash. We're goated out here. Hit him with the second poison pot, dash through, hit him with the E, dash through, kill. Bam! The giant stag kills me. You guys think this is such a sad ending, but our boy recovered the loot, so it was all good. It was all good. But we got next another fight versus melee. I was just trying to do this mammoth hunter and this dude is messing with me, and I felt so strong into melee that I was like, oh, I'm getting beat up a little bit. I went to reset him, he dropped down, and I'm just gonna be on him right away. Hit him with the first poison. The poison gives us the slow on damage, which is super strong. As you guys can see, just waiting out his helmet shield before I go in with the E. Bam, stalker hood, E, shoes. It's just over once that stalker hood goes off. Now, a lot of melee plays out pretty much the exact same, just like what you guys saw. This guy was really big, T8, not really big, but compared to me, he was full T8 equivalent on Battle Axe, and the fight gets really close because of that. Normally, this would just be a very easy win for me. I'm dodging the axes with my movement. I didn't correctly swap. I should have gotten off of mage ropes here. You guys see? I misused my chain slash there. Right, and it brings me onto the rock elemental. I wanted to showcase that because that was a huge mistake I made and could have costed me this kill if things didn't go my way. So please be aware of making sure you don't make that same mistake where you're dashing the wrong way or dashing on a mob you don't want to be on. Now, I ended up just blindly running. Something in my heart told me I was going to get this guy. And you guys can see I'm going to dash, chain slash, Q, E, boom, hit him with the Q. You guys see it's a real nail biter at the end there, but we end up getting him just in the 4.2. Beautiful. I always love when a set works that good. Oh, this is fun. This is 2 guys in 4.2. Now, they're not the best, okay? This dude doesn't know where he is. He's lost. I do accidentally E into the dash. Like I said, that can be very telegraphed, but we do end up winning the 2v1, which I thought was very neat. I think I hold the poison pot. I don't think I need it, yeah. I hold the second poison pot. Those dudes are in just the same gear as me, which is pretty funny. But our last one, and most important, the one that you guys do need me to tell you about what happens, is Versed Frost. I am on Q3 here. So me and this guy had already fought. I'm out of potions, and I just felt like Q3 was the answer to Frost in this moment with how strong Frost is. Right, I'm able to get my E off without needing to really connect, and this is guys, this is close. So I'm able to get onto him here. Right, I'm going to use that stalker hood to really get him here. Go, stalker hood, E, chain slash, and it's over, just like that. Alright everyone, that's the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Here's Gankers not being able to get into a Road of Avalon as your reward for staying to the end. But yeah, I think Deathgiver is really strong. I'm going to continue to play it. I think it's just wonderful. They're a really good weapon. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe. Thank you all just so much once again.